Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a new session. You doing all right, guys? It's all good? A lot of sleep? Are you sleepy, guys? I understand if you're sleepy because me too. All right. So, today, ¿sí me escuchan bien, cierto? Can you confirm? Yes, dice Francisca. Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. Dígame, Nicole. What question? La pregunta del $1.000.000. I'm still working on that porque estoy reventadísimo física y mentalmente y bueno, también con mucha pega, como tengo 3 peguitas, entonces estoy tratando de sacarlas lo antes posible. Lo más seguro es que en la semana de receso, que es la próxima, de hecho tengo receso en la autónoma y en el PEDAP, entonces voy a tener ahí un montón de tiempo para rematar con los book reviews y con la Ivana también para poder tener sus trabajos la próxima semana, lo más probable. Tenerlos todos, ¿no? Porque algunos saldrán antes que otros, pero para tener todas las notas del curso, no seguro la próxima semana, porque entre reuniones, clases, preparar clases, evaluar, tengo no sé cuántos papers que revisar, más las prácticas profesionales entonces estoy medio colapsado, como dicen. Estoy súper como overwhelmed, pero sí la otra semana creo que voy a tener el tema, ¿ya? Me está tomando más tiempo de lo esperado. La verdad que yo pensé que lo tendrían, digamos, como a la fecha y ya no me fui a la vez, así igual. Así que, pero hay que darle no, ¿ya? Next week yo creo que, como digo, va a tener más tiempo por las semanas de receso, así que ahí sí o sí deberían estar, ¿ya? Eso. You're welcome, you're welcome. All right. Entonces, today we should be dealing with lexical contents of Unit 2. Vamos a adelantar un poquito porque la próxima semana te saben qué clases. So, hay un tema que quería tratar que era Computers on the Internet, que viene conectado con Media y todo eso, pero lo vamos a ver hoy día. Cosa de la próxima semana yo voy a subir ese ejercicio nomás de grammar y de ese estilo y rap, ¿ya? Y como es semana de receso, ustedes pueden elegir hacer nada o hacer algunas cosas relacionadas con los estudios. So, here we go. I'm going to share with you my screen. First, I'm going to show you a video about, no, ese no. I'm going to show you a video about internet and the computers, right? And this video is called How the Internet Works in 5 minutes. So the idea is that you watch the video and you try to understand the general idea first, and also understand maybe some details that you didn't know. I mean, try to remember details that you didn't know about the internet. And maybe there are things that you already know, but other things are like kind of new. So try to focus on, in this case, on the new things and the general, topic. Okay, so here we go. Si se escucha mal, me avisan.
So, how does the internet work? Most of us know how to use the internet without actually understanding how it works, sort of like electricity in your home. You use it every day, but may not understand the mechanics behind it. And if the electric grid is difficult to understand, then the internet must be impossible, right? Wrong. In the next few minutes, I'll put you in the top 10% of people who understand how the internet actually works. For SecurityCatalyst.com, I'm Aaron Titus. Whenever most people think of the internet, this is what comes to mind. The internet is not a bubble cloud, even in the new age of cloud computing. The whole fuzzy cloud picture was created by people more concerned about job security than education. This is the Internet. The Internet is a wire, actually buried in the ground. It might be fiber optics, copper, or occasionally beamed to satellites or through cell phone networks, but the Internet is simply a wire. The Internet is useful because two computers connected directly to this wire can communicate. A server is a special computer connected directly to the Internet, and web pages are files on that server's hard drive. Every server has a unique Internet Protocol address, or IP address. Just like a postal address, IP addresses help computers find each other. But since 72.14.205.100 doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, we also give them names like Google.com, Facebook.com, or SecurityCatalyst.com. So this is how it works. Your computer at home is not a server because it's not connected directly to the Internet. Computers you and I use every day are called clients because they're connected indirectly to the Internet through an Internet service provider. Here we'll pretend that this is my home laptop and I'm using DSL. Now let's pretend that I want to visit AOL.com, which is coincidentally both a server and an ISP. I hop onto my laptop with DSL, go through my ISP, onto the Internet, and look at AOL.com. My computer connects with AOL.com, and I can look at its web pages. Now, let's say that I want to send an email to Aunt Ruth. Aunt Ruth has AOL dial-up from home, and I've got a Gmail account. I log on to gmail.com and compose a message to Aunt Ruth's email address, auntruth@aol.com. Once I click send, gmail.com sends the email to AOL.com. The next day, Aunt Ruth dials into AOL servers and retrieves the email. Whenever an email, picture, or web page travels across the Internet, computers break the information into smaller pieces called packets. When information reaches its destination, the packets are reassembled in their original order to make a picture, email, web page, or tweet. Okay, so imagine you're at work sitting next to your boss, and you're both surfing online. Your boss is doing market research, and you're updating your Facebook profile. You're both sending packets back and forth over the Internet. But what's to keep your packets from accidentally ending up on your boss's screen? That could be embarrassing. The solution to that problem is IP addresses and routers. Everything connected directly or indirectly to the Internet has an IP address. Everything. That includes your computer, servers, cell phones, and all of the equipment in between. Anywhere two or more parts of the Internet intersect, there's a piece of equipment called a router. Routers direct your packets around the Internet, helping each packet get one step closer to its destination. Every time you visit a website, upwards of 10 to 15 routers may help your packets find their way to and from your computer. Imagine each packet as a piece of candy wrapped in several layers. The first layer is your computer's IP address. Your computer sends the packet to the first router, which adds its own IP address. Each time the packet reaches a new router, another layer is added until it reaches the server. Then, when the server sends back information, it creates packets with an identical wrapping. As the packet makes its way over the Internet back to your computer, each router unwraps a layer to discover where to send the packet next until it reaches your computer and not your boss's. And that's how the Internet works, in 5 minutes or less.
All right, guys. So first question, did you understand the video? How much did you understand from the video in this case? Like maybe 100% or 80%, 50%? That's my first question. You can answer using your chat room or maybe your microphone. Second question, did you get that part of the IP address? For example, what is an IP in this case? I'm gonna read the chat. 70% Monse, thank you very much, good job. So that's a good level of understanding, yeah. And okay, the idea of this video is pretty much explained, like in simple words, how the Internet works. So my second question was like, what is an IP in this case? Did you get that part? this part, for example. Did you know that every computer had in this case an IP address, which is pretty much like the idea, like the identity in this case. That's one thing. Another thing is um, a lot of people thought or have thought that the internet is a cloud, and it's not exactly a cloud. There are clouds in the internet, of course, but the internet is not a cloud. It's more similar to a wire. Okay, and actually, as this person said in the video, um, uh, our computers are not servers because the servers are connected directly to the, in this case, to the internet, but you can in this case make your computer become a server. I've done before with a package of programs, stuff like that, when I was creating like a web page, or when I was like using Moodle, for example, and also connected to a web page. So I transformed for some time my computer into a server, but you need a good computer first, and secondly, you need to download a lot of different packages and programs. And I used another person who was a specialist to in this case to do that. But the point was that if I wanted to have my web page online all the time, 24/7, I needed to have my computer on all the time, 24/7, and that was not possible. So because the server, I mean, if the server is not online all the time, also your web page or every platform connected to your server or computer in this case wouldn't be online too. So you turn off your computer, turn off the server, and then your web page is down. Okay, so that's why servers, they need to be online all the time if you want to have access to a web page, for example. Same thing with video games, online video games. Maybe you have a question or comments, things that you already knew about this video, some things that you didn't know about this video. So there, we got this, this processes of using internet service providers like Claro, VTR. Some are better, some are worse, Entel, Movistar, etc., etc. So those are the ISP in this case. We're the clients, and then the process of, in this case, sending emails, like from this part, gmail.com, then sending in this case, the package of information to the people that we want to, and so on, going like different routes in this case. Also interesting thing about the packages of information, that you pretty much like when you send them emails or pictures or whatever, the internet takes it, like it deconstructed, and then it put it together again to the receiver, which is something very interesting to know. VTR, el peor invento de la historia. Absolutely, Monse, I agree with you. It's the worst internet service provider, the worst, period, ever. And this is pretty much how the internet works, right? Now, everybody knows about the routers. I got a router in my home. Maybe you got routers. It happens the same thing with the cell phones. A cell phone is a computer basically, and it has an IP address in this case, and but in that case you are connected to the 4G, 3G, 5G, in this case signal. But basically you go the packages of information, they go to the router too anyway, which is an antenna, right? You got antennas everywhere, and so on. Now, before this, before the internet, I mean, before Wi-Fi, I remember when I was a kid, I used to, no, I wasn't a kid. I was like studying at UMSE. I was like 19, I guess, and I was trying to get online using my home phone. Actually, the home line in this case, was used to get the internet. And I remember I got this fixed line, telephone line at home, and people were calling home and like, why is it busy all the time? Line busy, like 5 hours. It's because I was in the internet. I was connected to the telephone line. I guess that maybe you knew about that, but it was really hard to get online. Maybe 20 years ago, 20, yeah, 22 years ago, because you had to use this home lines, and we didn't have separated lines in this case, like today, for example, that you got VTR that you have, and then your telephone line is different from, I mean, the same but with different wires. It's not the same thing. And I didn't have a cell phone at that time. We didn't have 3G, 4G 22 years ago. So those were different times, right? And I remember also, for example, when I didn't have a computer, I didn't even have a cell phone, like when I was studying at UMSE. So I used to go to the library, physical library, and I used to go to the computers, which were really, really old, at the university's lab, computer lab. Different times, absolutely different times. We were using Windows, ni siquiera XP, era como older, older than a Windows XP, and stuff like that. But we used to learn, I don't know, how to use the internet, and I remember that there was one professor at the university teaching me. I mean, in those times, I remember we were taught how to use a computer, and like we had this class, like how to turn on the computer, how to click on the Internet Explorer, for example, and stuff like that. Se me está acabando la batería. Hold on a second. And for you guys, maybe to use a computer or a cell phone is like really natural. But I remember that at that time, many students at UMSE, like I'm talking about 22 years ago, didn't know how to use a computer. And because we were not native in this case, digital natives. And but for you guys, maybe it's like, how was that possible? But yeah, I mean, there were people who didn't know how to use the internet, for example. But we were taught to do it in the university. I already knew because I always liked technology, but many of my classmates didn't know how to in this case, deal with the technology in that case. So I'm gonna be reading your comments. Pensé que era yo. I was reading your comments in the chat room if you want to make comments. All right, so let's do something different right now. Yes, sec. I got, in this case, a presentation for you guys about this lexical contents, about computers and the internet, but we're going to be reading more in detail, Y por eso el profe juega LOL. It's because I have always liked like technology since I was a kid. Anyway, we're going to deal with this part, computers, and then we're going to deal with another part about the internet a little bit, and we're gonna have some discussion with these questions. All right. First, I would like somebody to read the first paragraph. A computer is a machine or device. Maybe maybe Paula, are you there? Are you with us?
Yes, I'm here, but I have to warn you that the gas man is outside, so you might hear him.
It's okay, no problem. Just go ahead.
A computer is a machine or device that performs processes, calculations, and operations based on instructions provided by a software or hardware program. It is designed to execute applications and provide a variety of solutions by combining integrated hardware and software components.
Thank
a computer.
You very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Paula. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I was missing your beautiful accent. All right, thanks a lot. So, first thing is this definition of a computer. Basically, as I told you, your cell phone can be a computer. The laptops, tablets, and netbooks, desktop computers, or even big supercomputers. Basically they fall into this definition. Machine or device that performs processes, calculations, operations. I remember that when the first computer was created in a lab, and normally computers were meant to, for example, help scientists, for example, to make calculations, or for example, they were thought to be military devices and so on. Like only governments had access to computers, the first ones. But when after that, computers, they became a public, part of the public domain, and they were made commercial. In this case, they were available for the normal people. But before those times, computers were just like higher technology, only available for governments in this case, or very specific people. And I'm gonna ask another person now, maybe, I don't know, Krishna, or maybe, are you there, Krishna? Are you with us on this earth, Krishna? Maybe are you sleeping? All right. Hold on. No problem. It's okay, Krishna. Don't worry. Okay, maybe we can ask another person to read. Daniela, are you around? Daniela Pardo? Are you awake? Can you hear me, Daniela? No? Okay, maybe Mateo Antunes. Are you on this planet? Tengo un problema con el audio. It's okay. Teléfono malo la Dani. It's okay. No worry, Monse. Mateo, are you sleeping?
Nope, I'm here.
All right. Can you help us, please, with the next paragraph here?
Yes.
Thank you.
A computer is made up of multiple parts and components that facilitate user functionality. A computer has two primary categories: hardware, physical structure that hosts a computer processor, memory, storage, communication ports, and peripheral devices, I don't know, and software. Includes operating system and software applications. A computer works with software programs that they're sent to its underlying hardware architecture for reading, interpretation, and execution. I don't know.
Execution.
Thanks. Computers are classified according to computing power, capacity, size, mobility, and other factors as personal computers. Desktop computers, laptop computers, mini computers, handheld computers and devices, mainframes, or supercomputers.
Thank you very much, Mateo. Good job. Great. Nice job. So we got also here like the two primary categories of computers, or maybe the two parts of a computer, the hardware and the software. I bet you already knew that. And also, in this case, they are classified according to the power capacity, the motherboard, in this case, the speed of or the capacity of the RAM, for example, all those technical things, and so on. So maybe when you buy a cell phone, when you buy a tablet, or when you buy a computer, you think about that. what are the technical characteristics of a good device in this case? Maybe the capacity to store information. Maybe if it has the capacity to connect to Wi-Fi, if it has 3G, 4G, 5G, I don't know, talking about the like a mobile phone, or for example, if it has different, if the laptop has ports like USB or Ethernet, or for example, if it has HDMI. So I'd like to know maybe what is it? What is I'd like to know about the characteristics of a good device in this case. Do you have any preferences about the devices? Maybe if you play games, you like some power related to the machine in this case. There are games that run really good, really well, or maybe there are some others which are kind of slow, a little RAM. I don't know, maybe everybody has like preferences about that. So I would like to hear your preferences, or read your preferences. Maybe Paula, Ryzen 5. That's my favorite. I got a Ryzen 5. To run all video games. Lol. Absolutely, yeah, I got a Ryzen 5 in this case, 4000 series AMD. Yep, it's like kind of a semi gamer in this case. Not a gamer, because gamer computers in this case are really expensive. Really good computers, but really expensive, like 1,900,000, I guess. Sometimes. Derek, Intel Core i3 this. Creo que tengo. Perfect, very good. Okay, excellent. I mean, if it runs well for you guys, fantastic. You know, that's the idea. Tarjeta gráfica upgrade. Of course, you know, you can do upgrades to your computers. Absolutely. I know nothing about this, said Valentina. You know, but normally when it's okay, Valentina. Not everybody knows the information, but what we really like normally is that it runs fast. Everybody wants, you know, speed in this case, like with the cell phone. Normally with the SD cards, you know, we put more storage in this case, to have more, in this case, more capacity. Normally when we buy a cell phone, we want the last one, or maybe not the last model, but one that really runs well, you know, to watch videos, to listen to music, and so on. I'm gonna be reading you again. Derek, mi tarjeta gráfica salva más. Absolutely, Derek. Why not? We can do upgrades in this. Too expensive though, absolutely. Upgrades are expensive sometimes. Hardware upgrades are expensive. Sometimes there's software, you know, that we install that make it run faster, or to clean the computer, to have it like safe against viruses online and stuff like that. Me han corrido todos los juegos menos Cyberpunk, because that's too heavy, man. It's really heavy, Cyberpunk. It's a good game, but it's like kind of heavy anyway. Paula, I think it depends on what people use, their devices. Absolutely, Paula, I agree. Who's interested in graphic design for workplace? Maybe someone who's interested in graphic design won't need specifically a computer, but a good tablet. Exactly. If you want to just surf on the internet, or maybe just like attend online lessons, like on Zoom or Google Meet and stuff like that, you don't need a really big computer, like a monster, you know, really fast to play Cyberpunk or to play other games which are really heavy. I think that maybe it depends on the needs, you know, the personal needs. I mean, if you want to just watch videos, listen to music, and just like attend online lessons, you don't need a really powerful machine. You just need something which is in this case functional for you. And I agree with that. Yeah. All right. So the evolution of computers has been like crazy, you know. Like I remember when I was 7 years old, I was thinking about just playing soccer and riding my bike. And then when Atari appeared, that was my first experience with in this case with something digital, you know, like video games and stuff like that, because I didn't know what a cell phone was. I didn't know what a computer was when I was like 10 years old. I had no idea. For me, video games was everything. When I was 10, Atari, you know, playing that stuff was like like pretty much like Minecraft, pero de todos los monos cuadrados. But not they were like that, you know, they were not, it was not designed, it was like they were square. Playing in Moctezuma and stuff like that, you know, crazy games with Atari. And then Nintendo, you know, when Nintendo appeared, a big change again, you know, it was like dope, absolutely dope. And then, you know, the evolution of consoles, the evolution of games. And I remember then when PC, when I had my first computer, was like heaven, you know. Having a desktop computer was like the best thing in the world. I remember maybe 20 years ago. And then, you know, playing PC games, you know, downloading games on ARAs, or maybe some illegal platforms downloading games and stuff, or with CDs, DVDs, installing things, you know, on the PC. It was the best thing in the world. And now we got online gaming, you know, which is like a totally different generation, totally different thing. For you guys, it's kind of normal, but for me, it's like kind of crazy, you know, how it evolves. What else? So we already checked out the internet, but now I got more questions for you guys so that we can have more discussions. We got 10 minutes left, so you can answer using the microphone or just the in this case the chat room. What is the impact of computers in modern society? As I was telling you, like maybe 20 years ago was a different world. Internet was like kind of slow, you know, we didn't have this optical fiber and stuff like that, you know, this satellite connections, you know, with 4G, 5G and stuff like that. It was just like home lines. And now, you know, computers are everywhere. And when I talk about computers, I talk about everything, like the tablets and cell phones. They are computers basically. They have changed pretty much everything, how we communicate, how we study. I don't know, I'm gonna be reading your opinions in the chat room. Profe Merjano PC. I didn't expect that, Derek. But Paula, descargar música en Ares, Hackerman. No, yeah, I didn't know that you knew Ares, but it was like kind of a, you know, Napster, and Ares was like the, in this case, the most illegal thing and cool thing that you could ever do in that, you know, in that time. And everybody, you know, was downloading stuff with I mean, one file with 10 viruses. And but it was really cool to download, you know, full albums and movies, and like 3 days downloading one movie. But anyway, it was kind of cool. You had the computer, you know, on like 24/7 because you had to download things, you know. Everything is a click away. Absolutely right, Valentina. Everything is a click away. Maybe if you want to meet someone on the web, you go to an app and you want to meet people, or for example, you want to play something, you want to play music. I remember that I used to download music on Ares or Napster, and then I put it in my MP3 player or my MP3 player, basically, because I didn't have a cell phone. And it was crazy, you know, it was crazy. And now we can just play music on Spotify, and just another level of technology, you know. And or for example, number two, have you ever imagined a world without computers? How would it be a world without computers today? Maybe I don't know, if you get rid of the internet, if you get rid of the technology, what would you do? What would we do? How would we study? Especially in a pandemic, for example, it would be crazy to be in a pandemic without the technology, without the internet. We know this is not the first time that humankind has faced a pandemic. In the past, for example, many different diseases attacked humanity, and a lot of people died, you know, and some others were like, you know, isolated. You know, I remember the Black Death, you know, la peste negra, you know, Black Death in Europe in the 14th century, and people, you know, died like millions of people died, millions of people in that case, and maybe just one. I think that a quarter part of the in this case the population in Europe survived. Like the third part just died. And they didn't have internet, they didn't have computers. I don't know how they dealt with that. For me, it was like could be impossible. I mean, it would be impossible to deal with the pandemic right now without the technology. I don't know what you think about that. Médico brujos, máscara de cuervo. Exactly, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that. Those masks with 50 Trojans. Absolutely, downloading on Ares, Napster. One song with 50 Trojans. So I was listening to the Trojans, not to music. Uh-huh. So, but you haven't answered my question. Like, have you ever imagined a world without computers? I mean, how could we deal with the pandemic without computers, without Zoom, without, I don't know, making phone calls to talk to our friends, to our family, to our significant others? I can't even imagine how to deal with this pandemic without this. I couldn't work without the technology. I couldn't pretty much have fun, like watch Netflix. I don't know how. I mean, I know that human beings, in this case, we get adapted to the situation, but we suffer first, and after the suffering, we get adapted. We just accept the reality. But I think it would be really hard to deal with the pandemic without the technology. So I want to read your opinions. As the older generations, through letters, yes, letters, knowing your aunt died 7 months ago. Aunt, yeah, that would be crazy, man. It was like, yeah, I mean, your aunt died 7 months ago. Your I don't know, brother, sister passed away, and like months after. That would be crazy and really bad. Really sad. Will believe everything the government says? Probably yes. Without independent journalism online, maybe we just would believe everything, like the propaganda and stuff like that. I don't even know how the older generations did it in the 19th century, for example, with all that propaganda, or maybe in the 20th century. Like, people believed pretty much everything the government said. Every, like, a leader who just rose up and started saying things, and people, like, with no more sources, like, oh, okay, maybe it's right, and had no sources to triangulate the information. It's like, this guy is just I mean, talking shit, and we had no parallels to say, is this right or wrong? So now technology and it helps us to have different points of view, like independent journalism versus TV versus, like, other people talking, and we got the information online, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on different platforms, watching videos on YouTube. And so we got different sources, so we can manage, what to believe and not to believe, Paula, we don't have to go back that long. If we think about dictatorship, it could be something like that still. Exactly. I mean, so one of the good things about technology, about internet, about having a cell phone, for example, is that you can have access to different sources. You can make comparisons. You can contrast opinions. You can have videos, like real videos, in this case, footages taken by, in this case, independent journalists in the street, and then you can say, this is what really happening. It's not that thing which is on TV. So the true information that, like, in this case, like, more reliable information can be available through, in this case, the internet, and through the cell phones and the computers, which is something really important. In my personal case, I believe that if we use technology to obtain more freedom, to obtain more, in this case, like a different mindset about the reality, about the world, about politics, about society. So we got a really powerful tool that older generations didn't have. You know, it's more difficult to. Of course, there are fake news. There are fake news. There is a lot um, in this case, there are a lot of con artists, a lot of frauds, a lot of hoax on the web. But it's our duty to compare information, to look up for real information, compare different sources, listen to the experts, and then you can come to a conclusion. But you wouldn't have to believe everything which is on the web like immediately. Monse, I imagine a really beautiful world if there wasn't the internet. Okay, I assume that, or I agree that the world was really beautiful 100 years ago or 200 years ago. Absolutely. Yeah, there was beauty and there was danger like today. I respect your point of view, Monte. And now the last question, and we finish. What is the future? In question number 5, what is the future of the internet and computers? How would you imagine a future with internet and computers? I imagine maybe having 5G, 6G, 7G, holograms, getting connected, like maybe the other section. They imagined being connected to the computers, like the Matrix, like iRobot, no more questions. Yeah, iRobot, that's a good example. Maybe a dystopian future, dystopian, in which machines and computers, they, in this case, they erase humanity. I don't know, or maybe something more, in this case, more, and with cyborgs, with this with the Wi-Fi, like a worldwide Wi-Fi for everybody, and everybody will be connected, working from home. I don't know if you watched that movie. There was a movie, Steven Spielberg, some years ago, with a lot of pop culture, but I can't remember. Player One, Ready Player One. Yeah, I love that movie. Maybe possible future, maybe 20 years in the future, Ready Player One. With the internet and the computers, massified around the world. Pola, Morpheus, give me the red pill. Will develop more and more, says Valentina. Have absolutely no life or privacy. Yeah, I think that's a big issue, Monse, but it's a big issue. It's a very important topic. That all the packages of information, our personal information, on Facebook, on Twitter, on in this case Instagram, that information can be sold, because that's what they do. And then you receive a lot of spam phone calls, a lot of ads, to offer you stuff, and so on. I mean, if you are okay with that, no problem. But if you don't like to receive spam, be offered things, or being spied, that's the extreme thing. You can be spied from the deep web, if you don't have this cybersecurity culture. Especially if you're a very important person, like a VIP, you can be spied, and you can be, in this case, maybe trolled. So in the future, I think like more and more of this behavior, like digital behavior, is going to be like really massive. So it's very important also to know how to protect your personal information. Your digital privacy, I think, is really important. Maybe if you got more opinions about the future, I'm gonna read you. Ready Player One is a really good movie, very futuristic for my taste. Okay, thank you. I had a lot of fun watching that movie, but in my case, I imagine a future in which, as I told you, technology is going to be an integrative part of our lives. Maybe intelligent homes, connected to the internet, connected to Wi-Fi. Like, for example, right now I got my printer connected to the computer via Wi-Fi, but maybe in the future, the lights in a home, maybe the refrigerators, maybe any other like electronic device is going to be connected to the cloud, and then our lives will be connected to the cloud. Everything will be connected to a cloud. So I want to believe in a brilliant future, but maybe the future can be darker. I don't know, maybe a dystopian future. But Paula says, like that episode of Black Mirror. But if you want to watch Black Mirror, I mean, I watched all the chapters. That was crazy. That was dope. Yeah, I really recommend that thing. I think it's maybe kind of dark, but no como la serie Dark. It's kind of gloomy. The environment of the Black Mirror, but you say, this might happen. Kind of crazy stuff, but it might happen. Where we end up rating each other, giving them stars. Exactly, like, oh, I don't like your tone of voice. Boom, 2 stars, and then nobody pays attention to you because of the 2 stars. It's a crazy stuff. No, cancel culture, but in another level. All right, thank you very much for coming today. Ya son las 11 y tanto, ya me pasé del tiempo, hablé más que 8. En fin, thank you for coming today. Have a great weekend. Se viene recess week, so in this case, you can rest your minds and bodies, have fun, enjoy. Yo voy a estar trabajando así heavy, porque voy a tener mucho más tiempo para corregir. Así que you're going to have your qualifications next week, I think, for sure, porque voy a estar ahí trabajando con la Ivana. Have a great day. See you soon. In 2 more weeks.
Chao, profe. Muchas gracias.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Caroline, ¿estás por ahí? Buena pregunta. Buena pregunta, Caroline. Ya. Voy a estar, en este caso, voy a subir indicaciones, digamos. Voy a subir la rúbrica de los ensayos y voy a subir las guidelines de los ensayos dentro de la próxima semana. ¿Ya? Igual voy a estar contestando texting on WhatsApp. ¿Ya? Pero como les digo, la próxima semana vamos a tener ya la rúbrica con las guidelines sobre el ensayo. Si quieren empezar a formar sus Google Docs y compartirlos conmigo y con Ivana, dele para adelante también, ¿ya? Así que lo otro que también, los videos anteriores, digamos, también estuvimos hablando acerca de algunos detallitos con respecto a los ensayos, ¿ya? Por si no lo ha visto, para que le eche una miradita. Pero si tiene más preguntas, háblame por interno nomás en WhatsApp y yo le contesto sin problemas, ¿ya? Eso. You're welcome. Bye bye.